Hey, we're talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods, up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun.
No, it's not. It's Saturday. We moved our date to Saturday.
It's Saturday. I've been saying that for
Saying
the last...
Friday for the last, 3 weeks maybe, but I thought I'd let you know this time.
I was just going to let him run with it.
You were just going to let him keep going?
Keep going.
Let it confuse
It's
people out there?
Friday.
It's Friday.
Of course not. It's Friday. No, it's Saturday. It's Saturday and we're having fun.
Woohoo! We actually we had a fun day.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool day. We did a little shopping today. It was a lot of fun. But today we're talking about Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
I got new Archie figures. I don't care.
We're talking about that, and we're also talking about our thoughts on the direction of
the DC Cinematic Universe.
It's what is it called? The DC
DCEU?
Extended Universe?
It's DCEU, yeah.
Yeah. So, Shazam, we saw that, 2 days ago?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm getting all my days are getting all bumped together. It's been a couple of days.
No. We saw it Friday. We saw it Friday. We saw it yesterday.
No, we saw John Wick yesterday. So we saw Shazam a week ago.
So we saw Shazam a week ago.
About a week
last
ago. Friday. Yeah. Aaron, he's like, that's it, I'm leaving. Yeah, we saw Shazam like right when it came out. We saw it during my spring break.
Yeah. We did.
So it's Shazam. Yeah. I mean
So if you saw the first one, it's gonna follow the same kind of it's a family friendly.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's very family friendly. It's very cutesy. It's very, family forward. Here's all these orphans that live together, that are making a family together. And, here's the geek.
There's a little questionable part on there, but they don't actually say.
Yeah, like there's some quasi-violence that you don't really get to see per se. They do say some naughty potty words, so if you don't want your kids to see that, that's understandable as well.
Or they allude to naughty potty words.
Well, she doesn't, you don't really hear her say it, right? She kind of says it, but you don't really hear her say it because she's the littlest one of the group. So if you don't know the concept, it's this kid meets a wizard. He becomes a superhero. He's the champion of Earth, he's pure of heart and all that good hero stuff, right? And so that's in the first one. And then he's an orphan and he's been to foster homes and he's in this new foster home and he's kind of becoming friends with these kids and feeling like he's part of a family. And so he shares his powers out.
Right.
So now it's all these kids, teenagers, between 11 and 19.
But for what I remember, because I didn't really read the Shazam comic, but from what I remember of the cartoon, when Shazam was in the cartoons, the kids were... all of the kids became Shazam. Yeah. When they said Shazam. They became just... the one Shazam.
One alternate universe, I think, is when they do that.
Yeah.
Because that's in one of the animes, too. Because they have to say it, and each one is a letter that's sent from one of the gods, so...
And they all have to say it together, and they become the one hero collectively. Yeah,
because Wonder Woman slits Billy's throat real quick. I think it's Billy. She slits his throat, and they can't transform anymore, and she just kills the kids.
Oh, nice.
Because it's Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. In that film, he kills them. Because right before he could say Shazam, she kills one of them, and then you just assume the rest of them are gone.
The rest of them are gone, yeah. Because if they don't have powers, they're out of luck, yeah.
Yep, and then she's right there murking everybody, so...
Well, and we kind of get to see this in the Fury of the Gods because they are zapping their powers away.
Right.
So then we get that comic book hero tropey kind of thing of you don't have to have powers to be a hero kind of thing, right?
Right.
So you
the Spider-Man trope.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, showing what the kids can do, and especially because one of the kids is disabled and he has to use an arm crutch. You know, to show that everybody of differing abilities and differing ages, like the
That
youngest
was
one.
that was a powerful scene, though.
Well, I like that kid that they chose. He does a really good job. He very much commits to this, and I will say that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is I felt like I was in the movie. Like, I felt like all the characters believed it. They were there for it. They were in it. And so the connections between them, and there's some new characters in this one, and the connections between the new characters and them, I felt it all was pretty seamless, and you felt like it belonged, and it worked really well. So I think that was one of the reasons why I enjoyed watching the film, was because it felt sincere, I guess, right?
And they changed one of the Shazam characters, the older girl.
Oh, did they? I didn't even realize.
They changed the actress for that.
Oh.
And she didn't transform into anybody else because she was older.
Yeah.
She just transformed into
was
her
just her.
outfit and
Yeah.
like more makeup.
Yeah.
That's funny.
She's the one that was supposed to be going to college.
Right.
And like had kind of given up some of that. And then you see that trope too of, you know, here's my human life versus here's my superhero life. How much of my human life do I have to give up to have this superhero life? Do I even want this superhero life? Yeah, it's great that I can help all these people, but also, like, I hate to be selfish, but I'd like to have my own life too.
Right.
Right? So you get to see some of that with her as well, because she is the oldest and she is to that point, and Billy's almost to that point.
And we're talking about it, and I don't know if y'all have seen the trailer, but go ahead and show the trailer.
We are at war. We will annihilate everything. Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that. A lot has changed in the last few years. The wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right, here's the situation.
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
The daughters of Atlas are coming to hunt us.
Children stole the power of the gods. You ripped it from our father's core.
Okay, I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down.
Give us the powers, child.
Your world will not survive this.
You want these powers? Come get them! Hey, Khaleesi!
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right,
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
we have one job to do. Save the world. Billy!
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
I can't do this. Take my powers back. You gave them to me so you would take them back, right?
I spent millennia searching for a worthy champion. You know exactly what must be done.
Billy, what are you doing? I have to do this.
We end this now.
Yeah, we do.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Now the epicness of that, you do see this in the movie, and you think that was like because a lot of times you see like the epic parks and you're like, well, that's all that's gonna be in there, that one little part, but you see epicness like throughout the movie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that one of the things I really liked is because they're fighting, old gods. We get to see a lot of creatures from Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So they bring like the harpies and the cyclops
And the chimera.
and the chimera.
That was cool. Well, I saw it just like it's a chimera.
And you get to see unicorns, but in a different light. And I don't want to tell you too much because it kind of ruins the fun of it, but they're in there as well. And I think the only problem that I had with this, I think, is the same problem that I've been having with all films lately. And maybe it's just because I'm older and I've watched a lot of movies in my lifetime. And so maybe I'm seeing this and other people aren't seeing this, but I feel like they lead us too much in movies. They're like, oh my God, look at this super obvious thing that we're eating or doing or carrying or reading or whatever, right? And they just spend a little too long like showing it on camera or whatever. And you're like, oh. And so then when it gets to the scene where that's important, they've spent so much time like pointing it out to you that it's not fun anymore to try to kind of figure stuff out. You're like, oh, it's going to be that. Oh, it's going to be that. So that's the only thing where I kind of miss some of, I feel like movies used to be better at that.
But it's a little bit harder because we've seen everything. We've seen everything that could happen, so we're able to expect that more, even though when you're given a little piece like this, even back in the day, Shakespeare used to say things 3 times before things happen.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's just an age thing. Do you feel that, Aaron, when you see the movies, that they're kind of obvious with stuff? Or?
Sometimes, but not always. Okay. I mean, I was rewatching Unbelievable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage and Pascal. And there's a scene where they show the knife off that you're going to see at the very end of the film. Because it's supposed to be she throws it to Nick Cage, he catches it, kills the bad guy. So, I mean, yeah, because it's like, why are you showing me this? Oh, that's going to be important later. Got to remember that. So maybe it is an age thing, but like to what Vince said, there also is only so many things. Shakespeare said there's only so many stories, I think it was.
Like only so eventually, many stories you can tell.
Yeah, so eventually we've seen them all.
Yeah, already. And I read a lot of books, and I read a lot of comics too. So I think I've seen these tropes a million times because I do read a lot of this fantasy and superhero type stuff. So it's very tropey.
And then and it's different, like when you're reading about it in a book, because when you read about it, you're reading, well, if it wasn't important, then it wouldn't have been written down.
Right.
You don't explain about stuff unless it's going to come up later.
Right.
You already told me.
So I guess as a reader, you know to look for those things. You're like, oh, so if they're mentioning that, that's going to come up, 100 pages from now or something, right? Yeah. And so I guess it's the same with movies.
Especially when you go in very descriptively about something, and then that's when they do the same thing in a movie that they do in the book.
Yeah. So I think maybe that's just a pitfall that I have because I'm older and I've seen all of this stuff, because I really did, aside from that, enjoy this film. It was really fun. I really liked the chemistry between the actors. I do feel it agitated me a few times that I felt like they made Billy, because Billy's supposed to be getting ready to be 18 and coming of age, and I guess because I work with kids, they made him, when he's Shazam, they made him seem a little more of a dullard, and I guess I have this knee-jerk reaction because of what they did to Thor, and I'm like, hey, let's not make anybody too stupid. Like, he can be lost, and he can be naive.
I think they towed the line really well on that.
They were close to pushing it too far. They were close to it,
but
yeah.
I think they towed the line really well.
Okay.
And I like the the actors that they picked for the kids, and then their superhero counterpart for that, because they really align. Well, except for the one that was the same.
Right.
They really seem to like take from each other.
Right.
Like they had mannerisms. They had the same mannerisms.
Yeah, they must have like practiced together and spent time together so that they could kind of mirror one another. One of the things that I thought was really cute that actually made me chuckle is when you see the layer where the wizard was before, but now they've got it. They've totally, I guess teenageified it is a way to put it. Like they've painted things to make it like more cheery. They've put up like Christmas lights and stuff. Like they have a video game room in there now. They have like a mini bar, but like with their drink, like sodas and candy and stuff. So I really got like a chuckle at that because it gave me kind of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle feel where I'm like, okay, we're in the sewer, but we're in the teenager sewer. So it's like Christmas lights and paint and
Splinter's not here right now.
Right. So, and of course their parents still don't know yet that they are. And it's funny because I'm just going to like ruin this for you and give it away, but it doesn't give anything away in the movie. But at the dad's like talking to this electrician and he's like, I don't know what keeps happening. It's like lightning keeps striking the house.
That's funny.
And all the kids are like, I've got homework.
So y'all mentioned because I haven't seen it still. I'm probably gonna try to see it Monday.
Yeah.
So y'all mentioned like the old gods. Is there any hint to the new gods though? I don't know if either one of you, if there is any, because I don't remember Robert saying it in his review either when I edited.
I don't
think so.
remember them doing that.
Okay.
If they did, it was subtle enough that I wasn't paying attention to that. And so.
Because I mean, because you have like, was it Orion? He's the only one I remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It was Orion. Because I mean, Darkseid technically is a new god. And Mother May I, right, is her name? Granny Goodness. There you go, Granny Goodness. Gosh, I can't even remember the rest of them.
I don't remember. I don't know who
There's
any of the new gods
so
are.
many of them. Because it's like the Avengers and Thor and all those guys. So it's like, who's there? I don't know.
Yeah, no, they don't. They do. Well, no, I don't want to say that. Never mind. That kind of ruins the movie. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. So I don't want to spoil it. So, but there is some interaction with the three gods. When you see that in the trailer,
there is a nice Easter egg that I'm gonna not mention what it is, but there's a nice Easter egg in there for The Walking Dead.
Okay.
So.
Not a Fast and the Furious one, at least, maybe?
No.
It's about family. Dang Dawn.
Dang Dawn. Well, and then I liked it where and you saw it in the preview where he's like, come on, Khaleesi, let's go, or whatever. And I was cracking up, and I'm like, I wonder how many people, like, not everybody watched Game of Thrones, so not everybody's going to know who that is, but I did, and I thought it was funny.
That's funny.
But you definitely, like, even if you hadn't seen the previews and you didn't know the dragon was coming, that was one of the things that they really led us to, like, blatantly obvious. We're like, oh my God, there's gonna be a dragon. Because of the way they do it. And there's a scene with some candy, and the candy comes up later, and you're like, oh my God, I guess that candy's gonna be important, So it was some of that kind of stuff.
No, they just paid enough to be on film.
For real though. We were talking about that. We were like, I wonder how much
did they pay to
be in this movie? Because they got some really good shots, and like they even say their like candy catchphrase in there. Like,
oh my God.
So like they must have paid a pretty penny to be part of this movie. Because it was awesome. And we were looking at each other. We're like, say the catchphrase. Say the catchphrase. Just do it. Just do it. And then the little one does it. And you're like, yes.
That's
yes.
funny. I laugh now because I'm trying to work on another film. And we're talking about product placements and stuff in it. And I'm like, now paying attention to films. Seeing it like I was watching Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And the Kellogg is just perfectly centered in the shot. And they're talking. He's like, have some cereal. I like Fruity Pebbles or whatever it was. Like. The Kellogg bread, and he puts it down. It's still like perfectly centered. It's like there's got to be a piece of tape probably for him to be like, center this right here.
And I think that's something too as you get older that you start to realize you're like, oh, such and such a company must have paid good money to have that can of soda right there, or that box of cereal or whatever that's sitting right there. So,
but this is just like completely obvious.
This is blatantly obvious.
It's blatant.
Is it Baskin Robbins obvious? Ant-Man?
it is Baskin Robbins obvious. Yeah.
That's the one I think of that was just so obvious. That was just terrible.
Trying to watch me
I love it.
Yes. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for the kisses.
So I'm really liking that. Apart from that, I hear that Zachary Levi is planning to do a Chuck movie.
Oh God, I hope so.
What?
Talk about a show
Yeah.
that I loved more than anything in the whole wide world was Chuck. God, I loved that show.
And
That
like
show was
everybody's supposed to come back for that.
great. Nice.
Because we're kind of left with like questions at the end of that. Like what would have happened? Because we just get a little glimpse of how he's going to be.
Yeah. I love Zach Levi. He's great. So I'm glad they chose him for Shazam. He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a perfect choice for that.
That's really
But since they did this, because we're going to talk about the DC extended universe. So James Gunn is saying that he's not saying that they're getting rid of all these old, because we're still getting Aquaman 2.
Okay, but this is what I've seen them saying. So the Aquaman that we're supposed to get and this Shazam, and I think that's it because they canceled the Wonder Woman. They like got rid of it completely. So those are it for this old look at the universe. So then
For
Flash,
now, they're not saying they're throwing it away. He's never said that. Because
he's kind of alluding to it.
he said they're like with Superman. He said they're just gonna go in a younger direction for now. But now, since we're gonna get the Flash, which Colleen finally got to see the trailer for
You
the
see how happy
Flash.
she was for that.
So it's not that I'm not happy because it does look like a good movie. I have a hard time with all of the things that Ezra Miller has done and has been able to get away with, and obviously they need some help. They're having some struggles. It's noisy. Sit. So I get it. They're having some struggles and everything, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm only getting the media's content on it or whatever. But just because there's some talk that maybe they did something inappropriately with some children, that's just kind of a line that bothers me, right?
Right.
So I have a problem with Ezra Miller being the face of the Flash. So I'm having a hard time wanting to go see this movie. Unfortunately, now we've got, Michael Keaton is in there. We see
Okay,
Supergirl.
before you say that, let's go ahead and watch the trailer for this.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline. Another universe. So why do you want to stay and fight to save this one?
Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not gonna lose her again. Time has a pattern that it can't help reliving. Different people, different worlds, drawn to each other like magnets. It's my face. You stole my face.
If you were to go into the past, you have no idea what the consequences can be.
Bruce, I could fix things.
You could also destroy everything.
This can't be happening. I completely broke the universe.
Zod, we've been waiting for you.
I created a world with no metahumans. And now there's no one to defend us.
Want some help?
You are?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
If I can't undo what I did, if I can't get back, there might not be a future.
What's the play? Batman, what do we do?
We try not to die.
It's not Clark.
My name is Kara.
I'm Barry. We're Barry. Barry, what are you doing?
Our kids are gonna want to see this.
So let's unpack all of this.
Ellen Page could have played him. Or I'm sorry, I forgot what her name is. His name is now.
Elliot, right?
Elliot is
Elliot
it? I
Page?
can remember.
I think so. I think
Elliot.
That's what
Elliot could have done it. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Grant. We could have just had Grant.
I would have been happy with Grant too. Anyway.
So they've spent the money now. It's made. It's out. The trailer's out.
I never hated him as the Flash.
I've always hated him as the Flash. He just gives me this creepy weirdo kid vibe as it is. And now that I know more about them, I get more of a creepy weirdo kid vibe. I don't know. I was so into Grant being the Flash that I think I have a problem with this kid. Just because I don't think that they fill in the role the way I would want.
All I could say is, ever since Robert said the run thing, that he runs funny, I can never unsee that.
Yeah.
And it's like, who does run like this? Like, why is he?
Yeah, they run funny. I don't know what their problem is.
I don't get that. Robert pointed, I never noticed it. Robert said it, and I can never unsee it now. I was like, I hate you, Robert.
But they do. Ezra Miller runs funny, and it's a weird look. I don't like it. It looks like Ezra Miller's overacting.
Yeah. It looks like he's trying to ski.
Suspended for policy
What?
violations.
Oh, because you showed too many trailers, maybe?
Maybe the music.
Maybe.
Did they cut us off?
Uh-huh.
It
It looks like it.
Really?
Let me reload.
Technical difficulties. I'll bet you it's the music.
We've been banned.
Right.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here. It was that.
Yep.
It's not even about the trailers. It's about the.
Like, I know, like, there's one thing I had posted, and it took, like, 10 seconds. And I had, like, it was a free one, and they still took that 10-second. There's no audio at all. They took it down. They're like, this is a copyright. I'm like, it's free music. Like, whatever. I just didn't even bother.
So are we done?
I think we're back on.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
no
we're back on.
No more showing trailers.
No more showing trailers, apparently.
We get community violations.
Yeah.
Maybe not the full trailers. Maybe you can show like 10 seconds of the trailer.
Or maybe it could just be muted and you talk over it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, look at, so this part right here.
So this part is,
I'm wondering
look,
if it's
this
the
is Ezra
music.
Miller running like a weirdo. This is Ezra Miller, who took acting lessons, obviously, from Nicolas Cage.
Hey, that's an insult to Nick Cage. Hold on, I'm going to defend him real quick.
I love Nick Cage, but come on. I wouldn't say that Nick Cage's acting is like a real stretch.
So
okay.
this kind of
Perfect.
kicks off the Flashpoint paradox.
Yes. So the whole point of
But it kicks it off in a different way.
Yeah, they took a twist to Flashpoint.
They took a twist to the Flashpoint paradox. So,
But the whole point is because, excuse me, they want to rewrite the DCEU, right? We already know that. They want to take it in a different direction. They're going to wipe Henry Cavill. You know, everybody was already ticked off about Ben Affleck, so they want to wipe Ben Affleck from everybody's minds, you know.
but they're showing him too.
Right, but they're showing him, but they're showing Michael Keaton, so they're kind of showing that there's all of these timelines out there, these multiverses
Because
or whatever
I think it's called hyper time
Yeah.
Oh my god.
in there, which is kind of like the same timelines in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So what they're trying to do basically is feed us all of this so then they can feed us this line of, well, everything you saw before was a different timeline. And now we've done Flashpoint, which is fine because they do that in the comics too, right? That's why that's how we get new stories and resets and everything. It's like, well, we went back and we messed with the timeline, or we went to a different multiverse, or we went to a different this or whatever. So I get it. and I shouldn't complain because I was really okay with it when Star Wars did it. You know, here they bring us Rey and Finn and Poe, and they're trying to set us on a new adventure with younger people and get that going. And so if the DC universe wants to stay alive, they're going to have to do the same thing, right? They're going to have to put some younger people in there. They're going to have to get some new perspectives in there. They're going to have to get some new kids to buy in.
But here's the thing. Are they rebooting the universe, or are they showing us hyper time?
Well, they've already said Henry Cavill's not coming back. Yeah. They've already gotten rid of him.
They never said that.
Yeah, no, they've already said it.
They've said that.
They've already
They
said
said he's not going to come in any of these new movies.
From what I thought,
they said not that he's not ever going to come back.
Well, they never say never because you never know. But this is what they've said is their plan. Their plan is to pretend like Black Adam, which they're not planning on revisiting. Nope. They just did that for The Rock. Black Adam, Henry Cavill's Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Aquaman, what's his name? How do you McStuffins, whatever his name is that everybody likes.
Who?
I don't know. The guy that plays Aquaman.
Oh, Jason Momoa. I was all McStuffins. I was like, what?
You know that dude. The dude with the muscles. They're all this timeline, right?
Timeline A. You could.
And then the Flash is going to go, and he's going to come over here, and now it's going to be, I've got the kid, maybe I have Robert Pattinson for a while as Batman, we're going to get a new Wonder Woman, we're going to get a new Aquaman, so that they can go down this new path. Everybody over here is in the past. We're going to say they happened in timeline A, and we're not revisiting them. Like, once Aquaman comes out, that's the last Aquaman with Jason Momoa, we're not using him anymore. He's not coming out anymore. So the only thing that they haven't said, because they're putting out the Blue Beetle this year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Blue Beetle.
And so they haven't said if the Blue Beetle is going to fall in timeline A, never to be revisited again, like Black Adam, and it's just going to be a one-off. I think they're waiting to see how well it does, or if it's going to go. So their plan is in 2024. They're going to start releasing stuff that's going to be the new timeline.
And that's what other also bites. You have Robert Patrick, right? That played Batman?
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson, who's not going to be part of all of this either. He's in a whole other thing, they said. So he's like Universe 2 that's not connected to anything.
So
they're supposed to do a whole Penguin too.
So
yeah,
right, so then that might
with
be
that
like
Penguin in
timeline C or something, where it's because they want to do one more Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, and they're going to put Lady Gaga supposedly as Harley Quinn, and they're going to make it a musical. Dear God, who knows what? So that's supposed to be in the same timeline with the Robert Pattinson Batman,
right?
And the Penguin, and they are supposed to bring the Penguin in. So that's like a timeline B that doesn't intersect with either of these other timelines either.
At the end of the day, Doctor Who needs to come out and just be like, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, let me fix this. And he fixes everything, and we're good. Back on track.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Are they going to eventually come back and then, boom, here's Henry Cavill back again as Superman?
I mean,
because you're bringing it back together again.
You could do the new 52, I guess. Because isn't that what happens in the 52? All the worlds finally collapse in on themselves because of
I think one of the problems is DC is behind the 8 ball, and they're behind Marvel, right? And they're not making the kind of money that they need to have people like Henry Cavill play in their movies. They can't afford it. Not right now, because they're not making the revenue on their movies. They need a way to reboot the franchise, to get younger people to watch, to get people to buy in, and to pay for actors who are lesser known so that they can make them within a budget where they can make some money back.
But you're not going to do that with the Blue Beetle.
Well,
Blue Beetle who reads the Blue Beetle?
So their hope for the
obscure.
Blue Beetle, but the hope for the Blue Beetle is they're bringing in the Mexican American audience with the Blue Beetle. So that's the hope for that, is they're trying to find ways to bring in people of color and people that are not seen as often so that they get the chance to see themselves cinematically, which is why they haven't said yet if the Blue Beetle is going to be in timeline A and he's going to be retired just like Black Adam. Because if Black Adam had done better, he might have been able to transition over to timeline C, but because he didn't do well, they're like, sorry, Rock. this was a great idea. This is something you've always wanted to do. We handed you this, and you didn't make the money that we needed. So you've got to go the way of all these other guys.
And it sucks because how you said it too. They want to hit the minorities and hit a different culture. I'll say it that way. But they're going to be behind Marvel still because Miles Morales comes out before that in Spider-Verse. So you're still behind. Like you need to do something completely different.
Yeah, because if you wanted to give us something with people of color, you should have given us a good Cyborg.
Cyborg or even Black Adam. Both of them should have been better.
Yeah. I was really hoping for Cyborg to get something, and so far I have not seen them choose a good actor. I don't dislike the actor that they chose for Cyborg in the Justice League.
Fisher, right? Or Ray something?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name. I don't really love the kid that they chose to be Cyborg in Doom Patrol.
No.
Although he grew on me eventually, but at first
I like him as a character. I don't like him as Cyborg.
Yeah.
He's not big enough.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
He's very small.
Oh.
It's like if you put Kevin Hart as Cyborg.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
You need a big guy for that.
You need a big guy.
But not funny.
But not funny, yeah, no. Bless his heart, he tries.
So, what do y'all want to see from Flash besides not Ezra Miller?
Besides not Ezra Miller.
Like, what do you want to come out of it? Because y'all know a little more DC than I do, I think.
So I think what I'm hoping to come out of it with is that it shows me that they have a definitive view on how they're going to move the universe forward. So that they're giving me enough of a storyline and enough of, okay, maybe Kara is where they're going to go now instead of Superman. You know, what are we going to do with Batman? I need to see what the direction is and where are they going with the universe. And hopefully they can catch up to Marvel. That's my hope.
But that's the thing.
Right.
If Supergirl did real well as a...
On the CW.
On the CW, it'd still be on. But it didn't. It's not.
Okay.
It didn't last as long as The Flash, and it came out after The Flash.
I know, but The Flash has pretty much jumped the shark at this point. Let's just be real
Flash should have
honest.
ended like 3 or 4 seasons ago.
Yeah. I think Supergirl going out when Supergirl went out was a good choice because they were starting to bring in all that weird witchcraft stuff and it was real stupid. And I think that these shows do need to start to learn, like shows like Schitt's Creek and stuff showed us, there's a timeline for these shows and you need to end them. Your story has been told and you need to stop, right? And some of these actors and actresses need to move on.
But if they pull from the literature that they already have, they could still keep going with the stuff.
If they do it
but
right.
If they do it right, if they do it right and not revisit the same
types
of
storylines
over and over again with the Flash.
Yeah, because it's always the same type of villain at the end.
And it's the same type of hero mistake, and it's the and that happens a lot in the comics too. Though we get those cyclical storylines, So,
I mean, I want to say this: like when it comes to the shows too, like I agree with you. Green Arrow should have ended at season 5. It never should have gone past that. Flash should have ended about that time frame too. And when you listen to old interviews with like Stephen Amell, he even said they only had a 5-year plan. That was it. After that, they had nothing. And you could see it in the writing. When year 6 of Arrow hits, it went like, we got to figure out how to keep going because the higher-ups want us to do it.
Right, because the fans are liking it, and the higher-ups are like, oh, well, we're getting the ratings and stuff, so let's...
And then, like going with you, say, Vince, yes, they should pick from that stuff. As a writer, you can do that, but the higher-ups, no, you have to show this.
Yeah.
And then they're forced to do something. Maybe, oh yeah, this would be a cool story. Oh, it'd be cool, but can you make it this villain instead? Can you do this instead? Can you do this? Because I don't get why you did that. And the money is what makes the writing at the end of the day.
Well, and I think the thing that they try to lean away from in DC is what makes DC good, and that's where they get caught up. Is DC has always been the darkness, right? The heroes are a little bit darker.
Yeah, they just turn the lights on. They're good.
They're a little questionable in some of the ways that they react to things. Aside from Superman, he's the Mr. Goody-Goody, right?
Always.
And I don't think they want to lean into that as much as they should. I think...
Well, because when they lean into it, like they did with Superman,
then people get mad.
Yeah.
But Superman, like, I will give this to Robert. Superman shouldn't be dark. Superman should be the beacon of hope, always.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be Batman. That I'll agree with Robert on that one.
But he was never. But even as dark as he wasn't as dark as Batman.
No, but Superman
because he wasn't because we hadn't even gotten to where he kills the Joker. That timeline.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that timeline. But
because that's something that happened.
Right.
But how many times is like, okay, let's face it, at the end of the day, Batman kills people. Let's face it. He doesn't ever not.
Yeah.
Does Superman ever kill any of his people in the comics? Because like in the movie, straight up he kills Zod. And it's like there should have been another way for Superman to stop that.
I think there are some timelines, and I would have to go back and look at some of the comics. I think that there are some timelines where there are people that Superman kills.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because I've never seen it, so I was curious.
Yeah, he does.
People just don't want to see him as that because they want him to be the all-American hero.
He's the big blue Boy Scout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I want him to stay always that there's a beacon of hope in this stuff. And
But
then everyone else
eventually,
can be dope.
but for that some reason is why some people don't like Superman as a hero because he is just good.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any conflicting thing, and you can't really. Today, as a society, I don't think we can associate ourselves with a goody-goody.
But if you
anymore.
and if you read the comics, in the comics when you're reading like the origin and stuff, and when you see him as a young teen and a young man, he's not a goody-goody.
Mm-hmm.
He is struggling, and that's what they were trying to show in the movie that everybody got mad at, is he is struggling with his humanity, which he doesn't really have, but he's grown up to have, versus he is basically a god on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so he struggles with all of those things, and, and he's a young person. So
Right.
what is the right way to go about things? And he loses his dad, who is the one who's supposed to teach you the right way. So then he goes through that. And I don't think people wanted to see him go through that, but you kind of should, because it gives him if he didn't have that humanity, he would just be like, I have godlike power and you all are going to die and kneel to me, right?
I'll be Zod at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. So I feel like they need that, and we need to see him make mistakes and, I messed up this city and I need to learn to do better when I'm a young man. And then as I grow older, yes, obviously I've learned all this and I've done better and stuff like that. Which is one of the things I like from
because they fail to see, like in Superman 2, where he causes, because of him, there's all this damage too, with him going up against Zod.
Yep. Well, and I really like that. So they have a Superman and Lois show right now.
Right.
And I really like it in this week's episode because the antagonist kind of looks at Superman and he's like, oh, what are you going to do? Like, save a couple of lives? Big deal. Like, I'm here in the ghetto, like, saving all these people. You may not like the way I'm going about it and doing it, but I'm uplifting my whole community. You're saving a few people every day. Nobody cares, And so it's kind of a hit to him, like, oh, well, I've thought about this.
Or you're not saving anybody here.
Right. All this time I've thought I've been doing good, but maybe I need to reevaluate what is my idea of doing good versus what are other people's ideas of doing good, And so I like that they brought that into the show as well, because I thought that was really good to hit him with, are you as great as you think you are,
Maybe.
Hey, Black and Silver Diamond, how are you doing? He says hi.
So we got Colleen's want. What do you want from the film, though? From Flash.
I want to see all of that. I want to see Ben Affleck as Batman again, because I thought his Batman was phenomenal. They didn't give him a chance.
I loved his Batman.
He actually reads Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
He's actually a fan of Batman. So and that's what I like. And I could see the Batman in him, and I could see the Bruce Wayne in him. He's like the best of both Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think he's the first one that was able to do both.
Able to pull off both, yeah.
Yeah. Because Michael Keaton, he was able to pull off Batman, no doubt about that.
Right.
Was he a great Bruce Wayne? No.
Not really.
I don't think so.
Not really. George Clooney, Bruce Wayne, all the way.
Yeah.
Batman, no way. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Bale, Batman all the way. Bruce Wayne, not so much. You know? There's never been one actor who was really great at carrying both roles. So, I thought Ben was...
I think the person that got closest to it was probably Val Kilmer.
You just have this man crush on Val Kilmer. Just tell the truth.
I
I'm
really
trying to remember
like Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer's. Who was his villain? That was Freeze, right? No, that was Clooney's.
That was Clooney's. His was
Two-Face and Riddler? Was that Kilmer's? See, I can't even remember
I don't even
his.
remember him as... I didn't think he was that great, but...
Because Clooney only did one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see, I don't remember his. They had to be Two-Face and Joker then. Because Clooney had Freeze,
Yes, it
Ivy,
was.
and Bane.
It was Two-Face and Joker.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing good in that was Tommy Lee Jones.
Right.
I didn't care for Val Kilmer in that one. I mean, Jim Carrey was okay. I liked him as Riddler. The only thing I want to see from this film is I would love to see if we get a hint at the future stuff. Like
that's
Static
what I
Shock. That's somebody they should have done, is Static Shock. Instead of Blue Beetle, Static Shock would have been better.
Yeah.
But like, I want to see Terry and Static. I want to see those two
We
guys.
all want to see Terry, though.
I am dying for a Terry McGinnis.
But that's another thing. You want to do Static Shock, but they gave you Black Lightning, and nobody wanted to watch Black Lightning. And I love Black
Now,
Lightning.
I'll say
that
this,
was a
though.
great show.
Black Lightning and Static are two different types, though, because Black Lightning's older. Static is a kid. And if you, like Colleen says, if you want to go to the younger ones, you kind of want to go to Static first, I would think. Because, I mean, Black Adam would hit an older generation.
Right.
Or Black Lightning would hit an older generation.
Right.
I don't know, maybe bring them both out. I mean, there's no reason they couldn't. If they would have been cool to see both of them in the show, just make it all about the guys with like electric powers. That would have been cool. I love Static. I mean,
What I want to do, I want them to bring all of it all together up on top of itself, like they did with the
shows,
with all the CW shows.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of those crossovers.
Yeah.
Those were always really good. I want to see how they're going to do Flashpoint without Thawne, with Eobor Thawne, because he's like the main antagonist still. And we haven't seen Reverse Flash in the films.
I mean, from what I'm getting, we might be seeing
From
something.
what I'm getting, I think we're seeing that in this movie.
That's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
too. He's got to be the other version of him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I want to see Eobor. I want to see him and come out as that sadistic murderer that he is, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I hope they can go somewhere with it. I think, I hope they make money with Shazam. It was really cute. I think people should go see it with their families. It's a really good,
But that's the thing, they're not making money on
First
Shazam
weekend
2.
was
They're not.
30 million is what it made this past weekend.
That's a shame.
That's why I was telling Robert, I'm kind of curious what this weekend will do with word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because it should be they say it's 50% drop off, so it should make 15. If it does better than that, to me, then word of mouth worked better than the trailers.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe people are superheroed out.
Maybe.
Maybe. And maybe that's why Marvel is starting to kind of switch to more of a show. I think people are getting tired of this, like, I had to have seen this and this and this and this to understand that, right? Now, for Shazam, you don't really have to have seen anything, because they kind of go back and tell you how the kids all got their powers.
Yeah.
So it could be very well be a standalone. It's not like the Marvel
Right.
Universe where you have to see this and this
15
and this to
other
understand.
things from 20
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. So I will give DC that they don't, or that at least they haven't started doing that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't. Having things be standalone is really great. So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is this something that'll lead it? I think a good thing for them to do, since they're bringing back Michael Keaton, it's Batman. Why don't they do Batman Beyond?
They need to, and Michael Keaton needs to be that Bruce
He
Wayne.
needs to be that Bruce
He
Wayne.
Right,
needs to
yes.
be that Bruce.
While we still have him here, let's
Yes.
go.
Just record all those films.
This would be instead of the Blue Beetle, this would be a perfect time to bring in Terry.
Yeah. And that's why I think they're missing. Blue Beetle would be cool, like Colleen says, it hits a different culture, a different group of people. But Terry's going to hit everybody. Because,
Yes.
I mean, he came out, early 2000s, I think? And the nostalgia you'll hit with all the people my age in the 30s who were like in high school and middle school, whatever, watching it. It's like, oh, Terry, this guy's so cool. And we still got, what's his name? That voiced Batman from the cartoon.
Electro James says, not tired of superhero movies, just mediocrity and garbage.
Yeah, not wrong.
I think The Flash was kind of going to reboot people's love of DC.
Maybe.
I mean,
We'll see.
then why bring in Michael Keaton if that wasn't the case? Why bring in
Well,
all
no,
of
that's
them
the
if
point.
that
was the
wasn't the
point of
case?
this film. That was definitely the point of this film. So let's see if they do it right and they get to move forward, because that is the point of this film. They've already said that that's the point of this film. So we'll see. I mean, all we can do is watch it and see, and hopefully it's not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath.
I don't think it's going to be horrible. I think it's going to be great.
You never think anything's horrible, though. You love everything.
What has Michael Keaton been in that's been horrible?
Okay, nothing ever, because Michael Keaton is but he's getting older. He might just be taking money to give to his family as, their inheritance or whatever. Who knows?
Even Birdman was... Or what
you know
was it?
what? He was in Morbius. Even though it was a post-credit scene. He shouldn't have been in that film.
That film wasn't that bad.
It was terrible.
It wasn't that
terrible.
bad.
Terrible.
All right, we've talked everybody's ear off tonight.
Got a dip. Have a great evening. Cheers. Yeah, see you later. But yeah, I really enjoyed Shazam. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Of course, we did see John Wick last night, and that was really good, but we'll talk about that later. But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen and Anakin, apparently, and that's Aaron over there.
Geek out, I
I
say.
say.